Felispolonia seminar, judges seminar, which is going to start in half an hour actually with the first lecture. I would like to welcome our lecturers. Dorota Szadurska, Poland. She's going to have a lecture about cat behavior on shows. Then from Finland, we have Anne Paloloma. Singapore breed presentation. Stephen Lee Jones from Norway. Corin, kind of interesting lecture. And me, Sebastian Pruchniak, the lecture about Russian blue breed presentation. Of course, I would like to welcome our judges and students from Poland, and not only, we have also Angela from Latvia and João from Portugal. Sadly, Rui Pacheco, who was going to come, he didn't make it because he stuck at the airport yesterday in Paris, so he had to come back home. Some housekeeping. We have a coffee break outside. It's the whole day coffee break, so whenever you feel you can go outside and have some coffee or a cake. We have the first break at 11 o'clock for half an hour to get the first group of cats into the room. Then we have lunch at 12:30, and the lunch will take place in the breakfast room. And it will last 90 minutes. After that, we gather the second group of cats, Singaporas, and we start with other two lectures. Then we have one coffee break again at 4. And after that, we're gonna have some, I hope, nice discussion to finish our seminar today. I hope that everybody had a good time last night and that you slept well. I would like to ask you to put your phones in the silent mode, of course. Also, just for information, because we haven't announced it before, that was the last minute situation that actually was brought by Rafał. We have some cameras, so this event will be online. And actually, it's already streamed on Felispolonia Facebook fan page. And of course, it will be recorded and it will be available on YouTube afterwards for whoever, for all other students that are not here. I hope that everybody signed the list. If not, just do it later during the break. We have, of course, prepared diplomas, because as you know, the attendance in this seminar is equal to 30 cats seen at the show. So this is quite important, especially for our students, because we of course have some all breed judges, but we have students as well. Robert Novak was supposed to be here as well, but I got a message in the morning today that there was some force majeure that due to some event he couldn't come here. Also Heidi Nikanen, she got some issues in Finland, so she couldn't make it. Marek was supposed to be here, but due to the beautiful weather outside, he had to stay as the lifeguard 50 kilometers away from here, because he actually does it every year. So it depended on the weather, whether he comes or not. Anyway, any questions for now? If not, I believe we can start, and I want to give the floor to Dorota. Okay, so we will wait for Dorota then, and she will start with her lecture about cat behavior on shows. That lecture was, of course, maybe some of you had already attended the seminar in Portugal 2 years ago, and actually this is the same lecture, perhaps with some slight changes. We will see. I'm not sure, it's because actually I haven't been there, so for me that will be the first time, and I'm really looking forward to listen to Dorota and to have my own opinion about this lecture, because I've heard after the seminar in Portugal that it was a bit controversial, so it was fantastic. Good. So let's see how it goes now. Okay, where's Dorota then? Okay, we have our DJ here. Yeah, of course. Let me introduce Rafał, because maybe not everybody knows him. He's responsible for our audio vision here now, and we have also Chris, our cameraman, also from the Felispolonia board. So of course they are great help. And I hope that also thanks to them we're gonna have a nice time. Dorota is smoking? No, she doesn't smoke, I guess. And now, of course, the whole seminar will be in English, so if you have any questions, please ask in English as well, so João and Angela and Anna and Steve can understand.
The first subject before it was about the snowshoe, and it's very interesting for me because I didn't see those cats for years.
Okay, well, yeah, actually in the first agenda that was published half a year ago, we had snowshoe in the agenda, but actually we didn't manage to gather the cats, because the thing is that the breeder from south of Poland, he got some really health issues in his family, and we had to change the subject. Yeah, maybe so. It depends, because also I've heard that he gonna close his cattery. Now he sells out his cats. He gonna just keep 3 or 4 neuters. So maybe we can do it with those cats like next year or something. But we were trying hard, but this year that was not possible. We even tried to get some snowshoe from other countries, but yeah, the breeder from Czech also didn't want to come. So I know how it's difficult to see them, how it's difficult to see them at the shows. That happens. I'm sorry. Big applause for our first lecturer. Okay, Dorota, the floor is yours. The introduction was done, so actually you can start with your...
Znaczy, ja może nie będę potrzebowała wzroku, czy potrzebny.
Już wszystko, tak? Słyszalna jestem, tak. Okay. No, może to mój głos. Nie, bo będą... Może tak lepiej. Nie wiem, czy mnie słychać. Okay, welcome everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today to talk about maybe not the easiest subject of all, even though it looks like a simple one, because most of us, well, all of us show cats, so we know how cats behave on shows. Maybe we don't know sometimes why they behave this or the other way, so we'll try to talk about that today. But generally, it's not something that will be completely new for you. I think it's not best. The lecture is a bit shorter than the one I gave last year because I have a little bit less time, but it's, I think the most of the information you need is, will be here. I left some information about the origins of cats because this is very important to understand why we have this and not other kinds of behaviors on shows. So I left just 4 slides about the origins. And like you see, our adventure with cats is very long, but completely different than our adventure with dogs. Oh, yes, that's great. Because with dogs, man has worked on their behavior from the very beginning. I mean, tried to adjust the behavior of dogs to our human needs. In the case of cats, we didn't work like that. Actually, we left the cat behavior as it was with the ancestors. So cats show a lot of very basic, very common behaviors with their ancestors, with the wild cat. Sorry, wild is not the best word, but with their ancestors. Just a piece of, I think it's quite interesting because all of us always say that the first cat show was the one that was at Crystal Palace, prepared by Harrison Weir. But actually, the first recorded, of course, it wasn't the show in terms as we understand it now. So it wasn't like that somebody, judged the cats, but it was a kind of a show to show the cats. This actually took place, you see, quite early in the 16th century. So it's nice to know that people really could see the beauty of cats quite early. It's not our 20th or 21st century invention. The first trials of the show, this is what I cut a little bit, not to bore you too much, was like you see in many different ways. The cats were people tried to show cats in the way they showed dogs, so on leashes in the beginning, That didn't work well, and we all know why. Other attempts were like this. So the most important thing of this period is that people notice the beauty of the cats. They notice that it's worth showing the cats, and it caused that people started to be very much interested in cats as the companion animals, and not only the animals that, you know, lived in the proximity of people and caught mice. Yes. And here we come to the first descriptions of behaviors of the cats on shows, because Weir himself noticed that generally cats handled shows very well. They were lying, as you see its description, on the laps of their owners, or on the cushions, or in cages, maybe not so popular then. And they seemed quite relaxed to the eye of to the eyes of the common, of the people. And now, this was this introduction. Now let's come to these behaviors that we can observe. First, I collected the behaviors that, yes, we judges also see them, because I wanted to say rather most frequently seen by the exhibitors, by the owners, but yes, we judges see them very often too, like purring. Let's start with the nice one, that is purring. Purring is generally associated with expressing pleasure by cats, which is, of course, true in most situations. The only thing to be aware of, and this is for us judges, is that purring does not necessarily mean only pleasure. And in show conditions, we have to be very careful that purring can also be a self-soothing strategy, very good strategy for a cat. These are the cats that we like to judge and the exhibitors like to show, because they handle the situation very well. So purring is generally something we like very much, but we have to be also careful to assess the whole body language of the cat to be sure if this kind of purring is not the kind of a little bit stress sign purring, because then this is what happens sometimes, that we have a very quick switch of the behavior into unpleasant one. So just to notice, generally cats that purr on the shows are very good show cats. I mean, it means that they handle the show hall situation really very, very well. Something that we do not see on the judges' table are the exhibitors, and we as exhibitors, because we also show cats, yes, at least a lot of us, is sleeping. This is something that we frequently misinterpret. Taking this position as sleeping, which is actually being alert. Being alert all the time and just listening what's happening around. This is, again, good strategy for a cat, but we have to remember that these are the signs that the cat does not feel very comfortable. So this is rather for us as exhibitors, not as judges, because when we get the cat on the judges' table, then the cat is different condition. But it is good to notice that this is a sign of not comfortable situation for a cat. This is a sign of stress. And now we'll pass on to, yes, that's another example. of a cat that is in the cage, but you can see it's not sleeping because the eyes are not completely shut. We know that from showing very well. And now we'll talk a little bit about stress itself. And I would like you to listen really very carefully to what I'm saying, because this is something that I will say not from the position of a judge or of an exhibitor or of a breeder. My main activity now is being a cat counselor, a cat behaviorist, and helping people, yes, helping cats actually, not people, in solving the problems. So this may look a little bit different from what we think on everyday basis. So we'll talk just very shortly about stress itself, because whenever I use the words that this is the sign of the cat is stressed, then people tend to react that it's something like horrible and something that we all should be afraid of. So a few words about stress. Stress is something, it's an element of life. Stress is not something that we can avoid. Stress is something like what you see on the right side of the slide. This is a response of the body to any change that's happening to us. So there is no denial, and we cannot escape that. We have to accept the fact that taking a cat from the home condition into the show hall condition is a change for them, no matter how frequently it happens, that it repeats, because we say that if it repeats, then the cats get used to that. Of course, they learn. This is what I wrote on the previous slide. They learn the situation, they learn how to handle the situation, and these are the cats that we like to show and we like to judge, and that's okay. But we cannot escape from the fact that the very change, taking the cats from their home condition, putting them into the show hall condition, is not a change for them, because it is a huge change. So it evokes a pure physical, physiological response in the body. This is, again, a natural fact. So, like you see on the right, look how high is the wedding situation. The body does not recognize whether the change is positive or negative. For the body, for our physiology, because the same happens to us people, any change is putting the body into the state to be ready to handle it, whatever change it is. So look, wedding, how close the wedding is to the disease, for example, completely opposite experiences, because nobody will say that the wedding is a bad experience. It's something we are waiting for, we are happy, the best day of our lives, yes? So wedding is a bigger stress than dismissal from work. Of course, this is like, you know, retirement should be seen as something that is a perfect day, because then we will not have to work so much. And still, it's a source of a very high level of stress. So stress is something that accompanies in life every living creature. As somebody said, only dead, you know, creatures do not experience stress. So accepting the fact that cats have to handle this situation in a show hall is the basis for our best preparation of the cats for this situation and best preparation of ourselves, so that the show and showing cats will become as best experience for everybody as possible. The very moving of the cat from the home condition to the show condition, it's like taking to the vet, yes? Look how long the way of the cat is before it gets to our judging table. They have to travel, sometimes really long distances, sometimes not in not comfortable conditions. They have to travel, they have to stay in a carrier, sometimes long hours. Then there is a veterinary examination, which they do not associate best, with the vet. And then there's the show hall. So I think our cats really do very well. And another thing that we sometimes do not take into account is that the very showing of cats. We judges have sometimes very different style of judging cats. Some prefer to leave the cats on the table, some others prefer to leave them. Some cats do not like that. Stewards have very different styles of presenting cats. Stewards, that's a separate subject. We are not going to deal with that today. But of course, stewards become, stewards want to show the cats the best they can. So they sometimes also put the cats into extreme just to show the length of the body, the best of the cat. But this is not our subject for today. So, like you see, sometimes the very examination, we cannot say that this is something that is absolutely neutral for the cats. So what I mean is that we have to learn to recognize when we accept the fact that the condition is something that cats have to learn how to handle, is not something, and I will repeat it again because I frequently hear that the cats like showing. So it's not something they like, it's something they really learn to cope with, sometimes really perfectly, but I would be very, very careful about giving some our human emotional states like, because no cats on the show hall, let's say, would stay, yes, if they had a choice. So for us, the most important thing is to recognize which cats are really well prepared and are handling the shows really in a good way. I presented 2 cats here. So both, you see, the British, they are almost never happy. And there is a very huge difference between those 2 cats. In trying to somehow, I forgot the word now, to predict what will be the future of these cats. I mean, how long we will be able to show these cats. You can see on the left the cat that is, even though the cat on the left is younger in this photo than the cat on the right. In this photo on the right. So the ages are different. On the right, you have about a 1.5 year cat, a young one, but adult. On the left, you have about 10 months youngster. And the photo on the left, what we as judges have to see is that the cat on the left is actually not handling very well. Is the cat that even if it's shown for a year, 2 or 3, it is very likely that at some point this cat will say no. The cat on the right, even though maybe in a funny position and also showing like waiting, okay, let's finish with that, is a different tension in the body, different expression on the face. And this is the kind of the cat that we as judges can expect will be shown for a long time. And this is what happened. this is what happened. The cat on the left stopped being shown at the age of 3 because it started to show more and more definitely that this is not the place he wants to be. The cat on the right was shown for, I don't remember, 9 years until a lot of titles were finished. So let's get back to this stress, this word that we people don't like so much, but we should get more used to this word as something that accompanies us in everyday life. Yes, before I started my lecture, I also experienced all the symptoms, typical physiological symptoms of stress, even though it's not my first presentation, it's not my first event of talking in public to people. I've been doing that, I don't know, for 40 years, actually. So it's nothing new for me. And yet, every time I have to start, I experience the same. I just got used to them. But it doesn't mean that my body does not respond. And I think you could hear that in the first 10 minutes of my speaking very well. I put those three strategies of handling the stressful situation to let you know how to recognize which strategy is cat showing and which are good from everybody's perspective. For sure, the first one, these are the cats that shouldn't be shown. And we as judges should be able to recognize that, to tell the exhibitor that this is not particularly a show cat from the emotional point of view, because it could be a fantastic cat in time. Focusing on the task, these are the cats that are all the time seeking for escaping from our judges' table. Yes, they are trying to escape. They are trying to make us not touch them, so they sometimes hiss a little bit or just look at us in the way that in their language means don't touch me, don't get close to me, and so on. It is good to recognize such behaviors and such cats as early as possible, because this behavior is expressed already in kittenhood and in youngsters. Because if we push, if the exhibitors, it's not our decision, sorry, it's the exhibitor's decision, but if the exhibitors pushes showing such a cat with the hope that it will get used to the situation, the result is usually completely opposite. I mean, the cat is more and more tense on every show, and then we have the explosion. So when we recognize the kind of this behavior, it's better to leave the cat at home. I mean, to advise that to the owner, to leave the cat at home, or at least to wait, because this sometimes happens also during getting mature. So when cats are really full of hormones and they do not know, they cannot judge precisely what's happening around them. So sometimes leaving those cats until they grow adults, like 2 years old, is a game changer, because they will not learn that biting or hissing at the judge will remove them from the judge's table. They will just get all mature, they will learn it's something, okay, it's something I can handle. From our point of view, and from the cat's point of view also, the best strategy is strategy 2. These are all those self-soothing, self-calming, behaviors that we like so much also. Like purring, panting, rubbing against us, rubbing against the objects on the table, This is something that makes cat more, well, maybe not relaxed, because this is not relaxation, but this is what makes them, you know, easy to show, and we can judge them. This is something that will, strategy number 3, this is something that the exhibitors will rather experience, not us on the judges' table. But this sleeping I told about on the previous slide. Oh, okay. So this is something that is nice, really, to show, which does not mean that this is a completely neutral situation for this cat, yes? But this is the cat that is really, that is nice to show, yes, it's nice to judge. What are the behaviors we can observe and should alert us? Because the behaviors like cuddling, purring, even though they are self-soothing behaviors, they are behaviors we seek. Now the behaviors that are not very straightforward but should make us a little bit alert. Those ones that look like freezing, that the cat is just, you know, sometimes sitting, sometimes usually sitting, not lying, but in the position that the body is very tense. Sometimes it is better when it looks like this, even though the eyes show quite big agitation, and they are the sign of high level of stress. The worst situation is with the cats that are sitting, like this loaf of bread, like we described that, and with the eyes a little bit closed, waiting. They look like easy to handle, but actually these are the cats that often are just waiting for the situation to happen, and if we do not recognize that actually they are in a high level of stress, then they can explode. So we have to be careful with the cats, but I think most of us know that from the British, very introverted. We'll talk about breeds in a moment, because it is also a little bit breed specific how the cats behave on the table. So we have to be careful with such cats, very gentle, not to evoke this switch in the behavior into something we did not expect. And something we don't like most on shows, and fortunately it happens very rarely, but it does sometimes happen, so we have to talk about this too. It usually happens if we do not recognize signs of this high agitation in cats, and that the show lasts too long for them, so too many examinations, for example. The beautiful cats, yes, because they experience nominations, comparisons to best in variety, then the best in show panel itself. So it is very, very important to recognize cats that are on the verge of this handling the situation. Like I said, this is not a frequent situation, fortunately, and usually even the exhibitors are surprised, so sometimes it's the first show of the cats, so usually these cats are not shown. But I want to concentrate on them a little bit, because this is also important, what kind of information we give to the exhibitors about these cats. Yes, so you have the description here. What else can happen during the examination? We need to be careful, what I said in the beginning, how we manipulate with the cat, yes? How we lift it, how we put it on the table. For some cats, they are very well adjusted to be more energetically, let's say, examined. For many cats, you have to be really very gentle. And sometimes the sudden reaction on the table is caused not by bad temper of the cat, but because of some issues that even the exhibitor, the judge, of course, doesn't know about, yes? We don't have in the rules, which would be maybe worth changing, we don't have in the rules, we have only that if the cat is showing inability to move, you know, restricted to move and so on. So this is something that does not happen on the table. But if we could also examine and give points for the structure of the cat, it would be very, very beneficial for many breeds. The cat on the left, when we put the cat on the table, like in this situation, what should happen are the feet, because then the cat naturally, you know, puts the legs so that it can stand on the table, yes? So the feet naturally take the position that the cat takes normally. They should be parallel. They should be without any, they should be parallel, okay? If the cat takes the position like on the right side, so we have these cow-hooked legs, X legs, whatever we call that. This is a very, very likely situation that when we start examining the coat of this cat, and we'll get to the back, it may react with an unpleasant move, because it is very likely that there is some problem in the locomotion system of this cat. So we judges also should be careful about these issues. Fear is our, because some kinds, we describe those cats as shy, yes. We do not, again, like some words. But shy cats are the cats that simply, you know, too much noise, too many cats, too many smells, scents, and everything. So for some cats, this is a little bit too much. And fear is our biggest enemy, because people that show fear symptoms, these are the cats that are most likely to behave in an aggressive mode. This is not from the judges' table, but I didn't find a better picture to show what kind of posture I mean on the table. To be also to be aware of the fact that the cat is just, okay, a little bit playing with us, but also a little bit tense. Not like this, because when it makes the claws, then we know what's happening. But I mean, sometimes the cats, whenever we try to stroke them, or we try to check the coat, they make this, you know, circle on the table, and they lay on the side, and they look at us, and they just and then we again try to make them turn to our side, so then again make the circle and lie down in this position. If we have this accompanied by the tail switching, it's better to wait, because this does not mean that this is an aggressive cat or something must happen. No, but it's sometimes good to give this cat some space to write something in the report, to wait a little bit, and after 30 seconds, the cat is ready to cooperate. So just to be more sensitive to what the cat is saying to us on the judge's table. And the thing that from my point of view now, not as a judge, but as a behaviorist, which is very, very important and very difficult for us judges, on the other hand, and for the exhibitors and breeders too, that we have a fantastic cat, beautiful in type, super cat, but not responding in a good manner on the judge's table. And coming back to the beginning of what I said, that this is a kind of a stress response to this change. This is the response to the change, which is very much an innate response. We have to be aware that if we, give certificates, give nominations, because maybe it will be possible to show this cat in the panel. We reward something we shouldn't, because a highly, the cat with high titles, especially the toms, because okay, the queens will not have that many babies, but you know what happens when we have a tom that is very highly rewarded, a lot of certificates, a lot of titles. Everybody wants to have kittens after such a cat. So our responsibility as judges, this is how I see it, our responsibility of judges is also to keep an eye not only on the beauty and the physical description of the cat, on the look of the cat, but also on their personality traits, I would say, on their temperament. So if we see that the cat has not the best style of stress response and a show condition is a very, very good examination of this, then we shouldn't really maybe promote those cats so much, because they will pass on those traits to the kittens. So yes, this is what I said. But then again, let us not be confused with the behaviors on our tables, because we have some behaviors that are very, very breed specific. Cats that vocalize a lot, they have this somehow imprinted in their temperament. So they will vocalize at home, they will vocalize on the cat show, they will vocalize at the vet. It does not mean that this is, an aggressive or bad-tempered cat. So we have also to be aware of these breed-specific differences. On the other hand, the British that are very silent can sometimes give us a lot of surprises. And now some practical tips for us judges, but also for the exhibitors, because we as judges are also a source of education. I know it's a very short time to have the cat on the judges' table and to have this contact with the exhibitor. So it's a very short time, but still we can use this time efficiently. So what normally happens is that the exhibitor comes with the cat and wants to show us the cat, the best way possible, so the front and everything. A lot of cats hate this, like when they are given this head front. So they make, they avoid this eye contact. This is a natural behavior. That's why I said about these ancestors, that in terms of behavior, cats are very they preserve the very basic behaviors of their ancestors. So they don't like it. It's easy to overcome. It's just to, what I say to the exhibitors, I say, please give me the cat either to the side or even the backwards. It's not that when I see the tail first, I will not like the cat. It's still a beautiful cat. It doesn't matter which side of the cat will come first to my table. So it is very important to also make the exhibitors realize that they can help the cats and they can make them, present better on the judges' table. So the first thing we can do is just to educate our exhibitors. The thing that I know is always very controversial, yet I'm showing that, because to me, again, from the behavioral point of view, it would be very good. You remember this strategy about self-soothing emotional state of the cat. If the cat can present a natural kind of behavior on the judges' table, it will make it much more cooperative and much more accepting the situation. So what we are afraid of course, is the hygiene. But then again, so many also, not in our FIFe organization, but also in other organizations, we have so many cat show with scratching paws with such objects that we have a lot of evidence that it's not, a source of diseases and some horrible things. What's more, we often serve as scratching paws, we judges, and we are not afraid that the next cat that comes to us will start to rub against our shoulders. We cuddle them, we, stroke them. And then the next cat comes and we do the same. So I think it is maybe worthwhile considering that maybe it could become a kind of an element of shows, because it would really help everybody. To me, it is much more pleasant to judge a cat that is behaving in a natural way. Okay, maybe a bit more difficult because it's moving more, but then I can also assess the movement, the body. It's really worth considering. So, look, I don't have to lift this cat to assess the length of the body, okay? It's visible. The muzzle tone and everything. So, to me, this is not, this is worth considering. Of course, some clubs do that, some are afraid. How can we also, well, this is difficult because this is again the change for the cat that is not very fantastic, yet difficult to avoid, impossible sometimes to avoid. But we could sometimes maybe use not so much of the microphones. I've been judging too many shows where there is complete silence. I mean, not calling the exhibitors. They have to check which number is being called. They come. It's sometimes really much better than using the microphones. Well, the visitors themselves. For us organizers, a very, very needed factor. This is also an educational factor, yes, because people come and the show is often the first, for a lot of people, it's the first meeting with so many cats, to have the opportunity to talk to people who have experience with cats. So we need the visitors to even to educate. But from the cat's perspective, this is not the best. This is not something they desire because, again, this is the noise. And space between the judges' tables on the show ring. This is something we can manage, because this is something we can take care of. Sometimes the spaces are very close, so when we do the comparisons, you know, the cats are very close to each other. Again, then they don't like that so much. So we have to think, while organizing the shows, also from the cat's perspective, how to make this more pleasant for them. And let's come back to the emotional state, but this time not of the cat, but of the owner. I mean the exhibitor, because it's not always the owner. It is very important that we assess not only the cat's emotional state, but also the exhibitor's emotional state. Because some of the exhibitors, well, I remember myself on my first cat show, my hands were shaking and my cat got so nervous because of me that it was really very difficult to show her. So on the next two shows, I asked the steward to show my first cat, because I realized very quickly that what I'm doing is actually making the cat, you know, feeling tense. Whenever the steward was showing the cat, everything was okay. And this is a film I got from a friend from our Polish steward. She showed me a cat that she herself said that she will not be showing her a lot because she is because the cat is very very tense. But look how protective and how soothing is the exhibitor. Normally, it's not a problem to show this cat. It's just that the exhibitor is a very experienced person. And she, even though the cat is beautiful, she said she will probably stop showing her because the cost is a little bit too much. If we have the exhibitor that is very, very nervous, I don't know what your strategies are. My strategy is that I usually, when I see that the person is, you know, is putting the hat with the shaking hands, and the cat is like sticking to this person, like cannot, like glued, you know, to the body. But what I do, I usually ask to leave the cat, just if possible for a moment. I of course try to attract it with a toy, but then to hide the hands. The moment the exhibitor hides the hands behind, the cat like somehow understands that it's not going to get to be lifted quickly. So it suddenly, you know, stays, and it's a very big chance that it will start to cooperate with us, so play with us. If we manage to make the exhibitor make a step back, so that the cat again loses this, you know, this is not so much glued to this person, then we usually have again a very good chance of really nice examination. A lot of cats, the moment they are cut these emotions they have cut these emotions from the owner, they suddenly start to thinking on their own, and they turn out to be very, very positive cats. And this is also difficult for us judges, especially on some shows when we have a lot of cats and we don't have actually a lot of time. But no matter if we don't have a lot of time, no matter if we are going to be the last judge to finish the show, okay, everybody will be a bit angry with us, but not the cats. It is really good to give the cat some time. A lot of cats, the moment they are put on the table, we see them insecure. This is a typical position of a cat that is handling super, but is a little bit insecure. This one leg that is, one of the front legs that is put in the air like that means that the cat is thinking and a little bit not sure what to do. So if we give the time, start playing, if the cat reacts to playing to toys, then we have a lot of chances it will moment of, as you know, estimates the situation, assesses the situation and says, okay, nothing's wrong happening. I can come back to my feet on the ground. And let's also be very careful with this. Of course, we have to check the eye color, the eyes of the cat. But sometimes we do it in the way like, you know, with the position of our heads that we ourselves take the position of a little bit of a hunting cat. So this may sometimes provoke cats. I haven't seen that many times, but I have noticed it a few times, so I also want to make you aware that the cat then looks at us in a little bit different way. But taking the time, a little bit more patient, if the cat is really very much glued to the desk, it is sometimes maybe not so important to lift it. Sometimes it's better to give the time so the cat relaxes a bit more, and then either to lift or to, what I do is just going around the table. And I can see the other end of the cat, maybe not only from my position on the chair. With the toys, we also have some problems because, of course, we always take some toys, teasers, but again, because of the hygiene problems, we are not allowed to play with our toys. It is good to maybe ask the exhibitors to always come with their own toys so that they will feel secure that if the cat bites the toy, because as long as the cat doesn't bite the toy, nobody is afraid. But if the cat bites the toy, then of course everybody is afraid, and this is something I understand much more than scratching post, because it's a different thing, what comes from the mouth with saliva and everything, you know, so that's a different thing. Or on some shows, we are sometimes given the, you know, these very simple toys that we can use one toy for a cat, but they are on the other hand not very attractive sometimes for the cats. So I think what I would say is to educate or to just let know to the exhibitors that it would be really very, very advisable if they came with their own toys so that we can then play in the way we wish, but with the toy that is secure from the point of view of the exhibitor. And the last thing that I want to say with this final slide is that we also have to be aware that the cat that comes to our judges' table is already full of a lot of life experiences coming from home, which we don't know what kind of experience it is. And this is also important that we sometimes see the reactions to some situations not even because of these show hall conditions, but just because the cat wasn't probably, I don't know, properly socialized or properly, I don't want to say taken care of, but the socialization and contact with people with different situations, like the veterinarian situations, but also everyday, like, I know, clipping the claws, you know, the situations that are maybe not very much liked by cats, but are done at home. This kind of experience is also very important, and the cats that learned at home some kinds of reactions to unpleasant situations will then repeat them in the show hall situations. This is something that is beyond our capabilities, actually. So this is what I wanted to tell you about cats from a little bit different perspective. which does not mean that I don't like shows or cats shouldn't be shown, but to make us realize that this is not something that is not a difficult and stressful situation from the physiological point of view for the cat. If you have any questions, I'm ready to answer, of course.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, I have one question. I present the cat on show in panel, and that was she, and she was very nervous. When I hold she always looking eye contact for me, yes, and when I look in her eyes, then she start nervous, and I see maybe from the owner, look in her eyes, she start quietly. It's not working. Better is looking eye contact or no. I don't look eye contact. When I look at her, she start and looking, I think she looking fight for me. And I stop looking and she will stop. Better look or not?
From your as a steward, it's better not to look. The difference is that when there's another thing, cats make bonds with the owners. Yes, we all know. They have very deep emotional bonds. So it is completely different when I look to my cat in the eyes and I'm talking to her or him, whatever I want to say. They are never scared by my look because they have known me for years. If you are as a stranger, because the most difficult part of the cat is the panel. The best in show panel is the most difficult part of the show. As long as the cat is with the owner, we know how much the owner can calm down the cat. So then, even looking into the eyes of the owner, something that the cat look, and they make eye contact often. You can see that the cat is looking. The owner says, yes, yes, everything's okay, and the cat is calmed down. But the stranger is a different thing. The cat doesn't know what's hiding, so it's better for stewards in the panel usually not to do that. It's better to leave the cat, not even, sometimes when I see best in panel show, I sometimes say, don't leave this cat, don't leave this cat. Of course, nobody can hear me, but I can see from the distance, leave this cat on the table, even though the stewards are taught, to present, because they want, I've been a steward myself. I always wanted to win, yes? Whenever I took the cat to present in the panel, I wanted my cat to win. This is, the competition is something that we have built in our species, yes? So this is natural that we want to present, and we know that for some breeds, too long, present the long body, for some other, just to shorten them. So we want to do that. But for some cats, if we can see the behaviors like you described, it's better to leave them. And sometimes we also have to assess whether it's good to touch them, because sometimes we are trying to make them calm down and we start to stroke them, and I can see in the ears how they get nervous about that. So sometimes leaving, it's good also for a steward to have a toy, to have a teaser. It should be a must-have for a steward, so that on the table it can, because when the judge comes, the judge, takes the cat and examines it anyway. So, of course, the first look in the panel is very important, so it's good if the cat can be presented, but if it's behaving like this, it's better not to provoke it.
I have a question. We were talking about the stress, about the showing symptoms. What about open aggression when the cat explodes, and you have few seconds to what to do. What are the first tips for you, for us, for being as a judge, just to, I don't know, take your hands, step back. What are the first tips for judges and to the owners?
Yes, we judges are in a bit better situation. This is what we are supposed to do. Yes, sometimes we should step back unless we are in the position, because sometimes we are in the position that we can attract the cat somehow or lift. Sometimes it depends on the cats. Yes?
So leave it or start to
We
play,
leave
or
it,
what?
and we should leave the decision to the exhibitor, to the owner, because the owner knows the cat and he knows, well, if this is an open aggression, an attack, you know, an explosion,
Yes, an
then
attack.
it doesn't matter who it is, the cat will
attack.
Yes, will attack. But then it's the owner's responsibility. I'm very unhappy that usually these are the stewards who also want to save the situation, and I have seen very, so to say, damaged stewards because they wanted to help. It sometimes happens also because of the exhibitors, because the exhibitors often do not inform that well, actually, this is what I said in the beginning, such a cat shouldn't be shown at all. But the exhibitors, they hide the fact that the cat is very responsive. So they do not tell the steward that it may explode. They only ask, could you show the cat because it's better in the steward's hands? And then what happens, we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if the cat tries to escape,
yes,
leave
this
it
is
also, or just
if
to
the
try
cat starts to escape, this is the first sign, this is a red lamp in our head that this is the type of cat that if restricted too much, of course, if it shows more symptoms of like flattened ears or things like that, then this is the first symptom of the kind of cat that if pushed too much can explode. So it's better to stop at this moment, not to, not to make too many manipulations with such a cat. And I always give the information to the exhibitor that, in my opinion, this is not a show cat. I always give this information, not a nice one, but I think I owe this to my exhibitors. Yes?
I have two questions. First, about so can the cat actually be trained for the show, like prepared and so, you know, okay,
Yes.
it's not a dog,
Yes,
but still.
yes.
And okay, then I proceed with the second one.
Yes, this is a quite frequent question. The stress response is something that we are born with. Of course, we can change it a little bit, but according to the stressor is not something that can be trained to. So with cats, we have this problem that if we take, because this is a frequent piece of advice, take this cat more frequently, he will get used to the situation. What happens in such situations when we try to train the cat is that they accumulate these stress and we have the explosion on some of the shows. So I wouldn't advise it. What I would advise is something opposite, because like I said, sometimes cats are, different animals. If we give them space, they adjust better. So if we make a break, not training, but a break, then sometimes after, when the cat is more mature and is not so quick in the reactions to everything, we get a show cat, but not at the age of 2 years, but at the age of 4 or 5 years. So it's not like training, it's not like observing the reactions, and we should adjust to the type of reaction that the cat shows. And what's the second question?
Second, thank you. And second, about the cats who are, you know, the situation when they're escaping at the show house, and then there starts a lot of mess. People start to scream, start to run, start to hunt it. Maybe you can give the tips also for the organizers. Yes, like what to do. What is the most correct way to behave when the cat escaped from the table?
I think we will not have the perfect way, because on the one hand, it's not maybe good to make this whole mess, but on the other hand, the aim is to inform, because the cat is very quick, yes? So we have to inform the show host, so to say, that there is a cat at large, and that, I don't know, they have immediately closed the windows or the doors and everything. It is better, personally, I don't see any better solution than to inform, well, publicly as quick as possible that the cat has escaped, and then everybody, because, you know, exhibitors are very helpful, it is usually somebody else who catches the cat, not the owner. I don't suppose we can do anything else. Yes, 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 this is something. For sure, it is also good to have the, if it's close to the owner, to have the carrier, because cats will often, not always, but often willingly enter the carrier that they know. So, but it's only if the cat is, you know, in the vicinity and doesn't run away far, because if it runs away far, then we have to count on the other exhibitors, no other way.
Any more questions?
Okay, then thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dorota. It was, I believe, pretty nice lecture. I hope you agree. Yes or not? Okay. Okay, we are a little bit ahead of our schedule, so now we're gonna have a break, and it will be a little bit longer than it was scheduled. It will be 45 minutes, because anyway, we have to wait for the cats as well, for the Russian blues. So now we can start the break, and if you could come back by 11:30, that will be perfect, okay? Thank you. See you soon. In the group together with Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Austria. And actually, we were honored to organize the show already next year. So the show will take place in Warsaw in cooperation with Elitarny Klub Kota Rasowego in Warsaw. So we have logo, we have also confirmed judges for this show, and very, very soon there will be a flyer on our website and in social medias. And I believe that 1st of September, we're gonna open the entries for this show. All right, but this is not the topic of my lecture today. Let me see. Okay, it's here. Okay. So as I said at the very beginning, we had to replace the lecture, the snowshoe, with the Russian blues. We have decided within the board to pick this breed as I do believe that it will be quite interesting, because we have this type diversification. The standard, or not the standard, but the cats has changed for years. So they looked completely different 20 years ago than they look now. We also have, of course, some cats, so we will be able to see some nice cats, and also we have kind of One cat, we have a kind of an old type, then we have this kind of medium type, and then we will also see the one which is so-called new type. Actually, the Russian Blue is one of my favorite breeds in category 4. As a judge, I love to judge them, and in Poland, actually, we have quite many of them during our shows. Nevertheless, first of all, I would like to thank our breeders who actually joined us today with cats, and we used cats and pictures of this Polish Felispolonia catteries: Avari, Balbina, Bluebis, etc. Blue, Aviatar, Kocielow, Kot Pawłowa, and Mighty Ocean. So big thanks to you that you allowed me to use your pictures, and also that you brought your cats with you. Some historical facts. So basically, the breed originally, as the rumor says, that they are coming from Tsar Nicholas I, and so basically they're coming from Russia, from archangels, and at the beginning they were known as Archangel cat or Maltese cat. Maltese is from Italian, I believe, and basically this Maltese refers to the blue coat color. So nowadays, basically, we also have Maltese cats, so all the cats that are blue or grayish or bluish, they're also called Maltese cats. So this Maltese is not a breed, it just refers to the coat color. Yeah, how they spread in Europe. Also, the rumor says that the sailors from Archangel, they were taken to the boats and then spread within the different ports of Europe. They were also used as a mascot, as amulet for the sailors. Archangels is, we can see the region in Russia near the White Sea. So this is the region where they come from. The first Russian blue cat appeared at the show in Crystal Palace, 1871. Then, then we have in 20th century, they appeared in different countries, and yeah. Basically, the FIFe recognized those cats in 1949. The first cat in Poland was brought in 1990. The name was the Ragdaj Charush. Of course, during the Second World War, the population of those cats was decreased dramatically. So in the 1960s in Sweden, the Russian cats combined together with Oriental and Siamese, they were renewed during this time. Here we have some historical photo of the cat born in 1941 at the show in Denmark. We have also this very old photo, and I'm just wondering if you can recognize those judges that are on the picture. Because one of them is still on the list. The picture is actually from beginning of 1960s, so it's a very, very old one. Can anybody recognize the judge with the bird?
Rossi's on the left.
Uh-huh, that's true.
Right is Olsen.
Correct. The Danish judge was still on the FIFe list. He looks a little bit different because the hair is now a little bit grayish. But yeah, the profile of the face remained the same, I would say. Okay, how the Russian cats look like. Basically, it's a very graceful cat with a pretty long body, with the medium muscle tone and medium bone structure. What is very specific for the breed? The very, very vivid green eye color and the double coat, which is also kind of specific for the breed. Of course, well-balanced, pretty long tail, medium high on legs. What I prepared during on this presentation is this elder and the new type of the cats. When I started my path or my adventure as a judge, and as a student, I remember at the shows the Russian blue that looked more like this one on the left-hand side. But then, closer to 2010, they have changed their appearance and they started to look like the cat on the right-hand side. And I remember those first cats of Katery Malevich that I could see as a student, and they were, as I said, completely different as the Russian that I knew before. So we can see that this breed has changed a lot. Nevertheless, the head should be a short wedge, straight profile and the convex angle at the forehead. Pretty broad on the top. We can see the difference very well now here. The prominent whisker pads on the one on the right-hand side, a little bit older type, of course. Then we have a chin that has to be strong. We can see the profile very well now. This straight nose, strong chin, straight forehead, and this convex angle. This convex angle actually was kind of a mystery at the beginning for me because basically all the cats got convex angle between the nose and the forehead. Or maybe there is something, I don't know, some explanation that Stephen can give if we are talking about convex angle in English, but not really. Something between 0 and 180 degrees. That's what definition says.
This should have a
Okay, thank you very much. We have the ears that I white at the base, and these are basically quite new photos of quite young cats or newly born, and they look very modern, because then when we compare them with those ones, they look, of course, completely different. But if we look at the standards and what it says, these photos actually refer to the standard that says vertically set to the head. And I remember a lot of discussions about that when this new type appeared, that actually those ears don't follow the standard. Nevertheless, this is the history. Now the Russian blues look completely different. What we have in the carriers, and we can hear the cats, we have one that got pretty high set ears and vertically set, but the others, the ears are flaring. Then we have pretty specific shape of the eye, because the standard says that the eye should be of the shape of an almond. Also, as I said at the beginning, a very specific trait of Russian blues is the vivid eye color. Ten points for that, so it's also quite important. What actually I noticed recently, that some of the lines of the Russian blues, they actually lost this almond shape of the eye, and they are more oval. But as I said, just some of the lines. Nevertheless, almond shape is the one that is required. The coat, which actually there is a quite interesting sentence in the standard that says that the coat is completely different of the coats of any other breed. But nevertheless, short, dense, standing up, double coat. So basically, when we touch it, when it stands up, it should stay. So it should stay, yeah. Regarding the color, of course, we have recognized only blue. That's why it's called Russian blue. Although there are some new colors already on the market, so to speak. But the coat color should be medium to lighter gray, without the ghost markings, and there should be the silver sheen on it. The tail of the cat, long, tapering, as we can see at that picture. We still, at least by the end of this year, we still have some faults that are in the standard. The general fault refers to oriental type. We have the faults for the head, which is square shape or rounded shape. Then we have shape of the eyes that are round. This is also a fault. Yellowish in the eye color, because of course the standard requires only vivid green. We have body cobby or thick set. As we said before, it should be long and graceful, and tail too broad at the base. and flat lying coat. Ghost markings I already mentioned, that the coat should not have any ghost markings. And all other colors than blue, Russian blue, of course, can't have any other color. As of 1st of January 2025, we're going to have some slight changes in the standard. So in the whisker parts will become slightly prominent instead of prominent. The chin remains strong, but there is a sentence saying about the shape of the chin, that it should be in line with the tip of the nose. It's the same as, for example, for Maine Coons. And then eventually we have this change regarding the setting of the ears. Because now the standard will say that they can have a slight angle on the head. So that means that the standard follows the breed. So they are not any longer set vertically. As for the last change regarding the coat, the texture, the sentence about the texture is gone. And the color medium to lighter shade with the distinct and visible silver sheen. And the word preferred has been removed. So basically, in my opinion, these changes are very good. They describe better the cat, especially this type that we have now. And I believe that all these generic faults are gone. Right, Steve? I believe so. That all these faults that we had before in the slide that are valid, they are only valid till the end of this year. Okay, so now, Chris, if you could switch on the lights. So I would like you to present. I would like to present cats. Yes, please.
Yes, the second word, the second line, what is the meaning of the sculpted head?
Stephen, can you?
A little bit of romance in the standard, in my opinion.
A poetry.
Poetry, yeah. You understand that breeders of most breeds, they like a little bit of romance and poetry in their standards. That's all I can say. I don't know whether Anna would like to say anything more about that, her interpretation of a sculpted head.
I mean, for me, the sculpted head means that this head has just straight lines, and this is the most important thing. So basically, when you are the sculptor, when you start to make a sculpture, the first thing is you straight the lines. And I think this is the way to think about it.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, sure. So Christoph, you could switch on the lights and... Okay, so first we have a 4-year-old male, which is pretty large, pretty well built. But I would like you to draw attention on the head, which is a little bit longish in the profile, a little bit longish muzzle, a little bit narrowish top of the head, and then we have those ears pretty set vertically to the head. Because then what happened with those heads this years ago, that when we have this shorter muzzle, then we have the shorter wedge, then the ears went a little bit down. Przepraszam. Yes, the top of the head get broader, the ears went a little bit lower, and the muzzle got shorter. No i Rafał nam też pokaże swojego kota. Dawaj teraz. Tutaj, here we have those two cats. They're, so to speak, they are medium in time. There's something in between. Zapraszam. Pokazujcie. So we have already shorter wedges, shorter muzzle, and the ears not really flaring, but they're already with the angle. So basically, for me, when I read the new changes, or when I read the changes that are gonna be implemented in January next year, these ears are something that actually correspond with the standard. Also, please look at the eye color. This is a really vivid green eye color. We have Rafał's cat that's got already ears a little bit lower set, as you will see. Okay, we have one very nice junior here, a girl, with pretty nice large ears, open at the base. And then we have one more neuter boy, not very happy. Okay, to my personal taste, the last cat that is coming now, for me is the best, if I would have to judge. When we look at the head, when we look at the coat color,
It's not an annual transition. Wait,
because this is a really wet shape and it's broad. Oh. slide. No? Okay, guys, so look, the transformation was from more or less type like that, because this is this kind of old type for me. As we just discussed with Steven, that the muzzle, the shape of the muzzle, there is a wedge first, but then there are straight lines here. And then when we look at this guy over there, the extreme one, so to speak, this American lines, these lines really continue the wedge. So that's why the top of the head is really way broader than here. And if we would put the setting of the ears from here to there, that would look completely ridiculous. So of course, with this shape of the head, I believe that because the top of the head is that broad, those ears went a little bit lower. But they are nicely open at the base, nicely pointed. But of course, the shape of the head, the shape of the skull is completely different than here. And if I heard already some comments, this new sentence about the ear setting, we got the perfect match. And here in the Magda got this young girl. Is it a girl? Looks like a girl. So we got here really slight angle when we look at those ears. I believe that you agree.
Yeah, this positioning of the ears defined a statement that everybody was happy with. Took 1 year of discussion. And we found, as I say, the Judges and Standards Commission found it took 1 year of discussion with the Russian breeders and the Russian Breed Council.
And this was the best we could get. It's not bad because it's open to a lot of interpretation. But yeah, we couldn't live with vertical set anymore because that was ridiculous, eh?
And that was very confusing, especially for the students that learned the category 4 cats, and they read vertically set, and they seen something like we have here, so that's why they couldn't understand it. So I'm very happy with this change, really, and I believe that all of us are very happy. Okay. Anything? Comments? Questions? Anya?
Okay, I absolutely agree with Stephen, and thanks God we have this change. But we cannot say that the vertical placement of ears is a kind of historical things, because Europe and our federation is not the end of the world. And basically we have still some federations which vertical ears with following old standard is a real thing. When we come to Great Britain and we go to GCCF shows, we see, okay, much more robust Russian blues, but they have very vertical ears. They represent our old European type we get. I mean, we had this 20 years ago. When we go to Australia, we also met them. I was in Canada in April, and also I met a lot of Russian blue, very classic ones. So, of course, we change our view because we have a lot of new lines, but it would be good to know and understand where this new type come from and why. Because this is very important thing to understand why we have this modern oriental type of Russian blue. And why we are so very much opposed of them. I mean, some people want them, some others not. Because in America, it's not only the placement of ears which is changing. In this type, we also got lack of angle in the profile. We got very flat, very light, flat-lying coat, which is not dense and plush any longer. And we got also much more rounded eyes, not almond shape any longer. And the eye color is, of course, greenish, but much more yellowish and lighter than vivid emerald green. So we got the present from American lines much more than only the placement of ears, which is not the most important fact of this breed. But, okay, this is the life.
Yeah, this is true, and those changes are created by the breeders, but also by the judges. Because actually we judges, we followed these changes that were introduced by some breeders. And nowadays, if they would be compared at the show, I don't think that this 4-year-old guy would win with anyone.
To be honest, on my table, he would win because I follow standard.
Okay. Yeah, but this is not the question just about Russian. We have different standards of different breeds as well that are not really follow the changes that already happened within the breed. But yeah, that's life, as you said, of course, and either we accept it or not.
I have the other question. I don't know, Sebastian, if this question is for you, or maybe we will ask Stephen, because he's also here. We redraw from, since 1st of January next year, all folds. And basically, I understand the idea, general idea, but there is one fold which for me is very important, and it was not replaced in the standard. This fold is going to the eye color, which is yellowish tone in the eye color is a fold. If we redraw all folds and we didn't put to the new standard anything about this eye color, vivid green, in my opinion, is not describing this little but very important thing.
Well, I don't know what Stephen thinks, but I would say that if the eye has to be green, then it's green, and if there is a yellowish tone.
We have plenty tones of green, from a spring, very gooseberry green, to very bluish emerald green. So vivid doesn't describe tone of green. Vivid describes only that this green is very bright, very light, very something strong, but doesn't say anything about the tone. And yellowish tint is cold.
Uh-huh.
But it still is till the end of this year. But next year, there is nothing about saying. So green, I'm sorry, green is the color which has thousands of colors.
But I believe it's the same situation with amber color, because the amber is also very different, yeah. Stephen, you want to put any comment on this one?
Yeah, I wasn't personally involved in the adjustments to the standards. It was the Russian Breed Council, and their remit was essentially to remove faults that didn't make sense or were just opposite of what is written in the standard. Now, I can perhaps agree with you that that we should have moved this up into the standard rather than just deleting it as a fault. We could have done that. As I say, I was not personally involved in the update to this breed standard.
Anybody?
So, if you mentioned that this is the ancestor, this is the standard for the first ones, then we have the medium type and modern type. Why, and maybe not why, what happened that the American lines are totally different than the modern, than the standard type? What is behind this cat that is so different? Did they add anything else? A mix of any other breed? Maybe someone knows why it's so different about the coat, about the angles, about the ears, and does anybody knows what stand?
This is actually quite obvious. It's because in Tika, which is where these extreme type come from or came from, they were breeding, what should we say, in isolation to the rest of the world. And over the years, they develop a type of cat which is different in lots of different places to what we've been doing in Europe. And then a couple of people, now it's 30 years ago that these cats were imported to FIFe. I saw the first one in a show in Austria back in the middle of the 90s. And this was, everybody was going crazy about this cat because it was so different to what we were used to seeing. The largest difference was that the Tika cats are more elegant, but the most striking difference was the color of the coat. We were used to, in Europe, this medium to dark blue. Then these American cats came over, and where are we? And the first one I saw was even paler than this, very spectacular in the color. And it was, in my opinion, it was the color that attracted the breeders in Europe to start mixing in these American cats. Of course, these American cats were totally different. Well, they were more elegant in the body. That, to me, is not how a Russian should be, but it's very appealing. They also, in the head, they were totally different to what we were used. The head was, as Sebastian says, the whole head was a wedge but the profile was like this. There was no angle at the forehead at all. But people, as I say, got very attracted, and then we have to essentially accept this. I mean, personally, I will never accept something which is too American type, but a mix where you get the best of both worlds is probably the way we're going to have to go, hey? But you should be known that every time I judge in the Czech Republic, I'm not allowed to judge the Russians, because the Russians in the Czech Republic are total American type, and they don't want me to judge them. Possibly the same with you, Anna, I don't know.
Yeah, but keep in mind that one of this Czech American line was world winner as well. Huh?
We have a lot of breeds which around the world in the different federations have different standards. Basically, in my own breed, the profile which we consider as a fault, in Tika or CFA, it's the best Roman nose in Cornish Rex. And the angle which we love to have, this is the fault in their federation. So of course, we live in a different continents and we don't mix so much. But generally, coming back to Russian blue cats, of course, this is my private opinion. I am not a breeder of this breed, but I was big fan of keeping as long as possible our own standard and our own type. Why? Because I always, when I look at any breed, I am interested not only how they look and how attractive or expensive they are, but I also try to understand the background, the roots, where they come from, why. And to be honest, Russian blue is the very, very natural breed. Comes from Arkhangelsk, comes from the street, created as a breed, very specific, and generally our European time, now considering as the old fashion, is the looking like natural. Even in Norwegian forest cats now we have some tendencies to modern types, but serious breeders, they try to keep Norwegian as Norwegian. It's not a way to create an oriental look in every breed. Exactly. So this is the thing, breeders and also judges should also be attentive that the history of the breed, where they come from and what was the reason we love them, it should be also under our consideration.
Yeah, but let's not forget that the breeds develop, and when we look, for example, at Siamese, how they changed through years. So, anyway, any more speakers? One more.
Here we've got a few people judges, and Russian blue for me, and I guess for you, it will be one of the most difficult breed for the judge, because as you said, the standards is a little bit different than we've got on the table. So for Sebastian, he follows what the breeders are going, and as a judges, my opinion is we follow the standards. So the question is how you find the balance between the standards and the look. So as a judge's experience, we know our way, but as a pupil, you have to learn. And Russian blue is a mix of the types of looking, the eyes, the coat texture, the color. This is a lot of very tricky things in this breed. So it's not easy breed to judge. You have to learn a lot and see a lot of them.
Absolutely agree. Okay, thank you very much then. Bardzo dziękujemy paniom i dziękujemy kotom również za przybycie. Było nam bardzo miło i myślę, że Państwu również oglądać te koty. So now we're gonna have a lunch break. It's almost 12:30. As I said, the lunch will be at the breakfast room, and then we are back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
What the Americans they mean.
Yeah, this is it, because that's what I said I didn't want to copy. No, it isn't. Okay, so it's better that I didn't copy anything, so just made it a FIFe standard. And
Can I have one more question?
yes,
Because on your just previous slides, you have different two photos, and on these different two photos, you have a different shape of the ears.
yeah.
Setting and a different shape of the ears. Which one is? No. One more. Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Which one is better?
For me, the male. On the right. No, on the left. Yeah.
On the left.
This, yeah. This
So
is the
this
male and that's
is
the
more
female.
proper
Yeah.
lines
There's
and
more
okay.
space between ears.
Nice, and also the shape because it's
Yeah, they are a bit upwards on the female. So if there are no more questions, we can. So this one is, both are females, they are from the same parents. And this was one 3 years, and that is 2 years. They look quite a bit different from each other, but let's have a look. Do you follow me?
this one with the golden watch is
Because they can change with the age and also the lines.
They are. They are.
So we continue. No, we didn't put any faults.
Yeah, all the colors. Yeah, this is disqualification.
How can they have some faults?
they now chart.
Yeah, this is it. They have, this.
But with the color, this one is better than that one, yes?
Yes, but it also we have ears.
Yeah, lighter. But if they want, yeah, lighter, and also vegetarian. So there's some close by, very little, but we don't want to sort of breed them out.
Nie, ma tutaj, tu ma tu będą na jednej nóżce. Nie, silki bardzo,
Yeah, short, close line.
zamknięte.
But as you can see, there's very little undercoat.
To są idealne.
She's young. She's the younger one.
And then over the head, this is a soft line.
Yeah.
And you have a plain, some plain longer.
Slightly round. Yeah, it could be slightly round. But still, this is very long. And also the eye color is better.
Yes.
She's pretty.
She doesn't have so
No, she has some ghost bars.
Ale te uszy są takie bardziej dominantne. Nie są takie, że są tam bardziej...
Close. Yeah, you have your temperament. Yeah. But we don't really want to love the burns.
Jeszcze trochę więcej, w sensie trochę delikatniej, bardziej zaokrąglone.
No, bardziej zakrąglone.
Tym lepiej, no to nie jest to działało.
Nie chodź, to jest cudowne dotykanie.
Lecimy dalej.
Yeah. What I was just wondering, I mean, the Americans, they love to change things. Is there
Any other colour schemes for the Singapore on the horizon?
You know, they are very strict with, you know, not using any other breeds or not about color, no, right?
Okay, that's that's strange because, as I say, the Americans love to change things all the time.
Any more questions? Thank you, Hannah.
Okay, Anna, thank you very much. Does anybody require some quick break, or we can proceed with Stephen's lecture? 10 minutes. 10 minutes break. Stephen requires 10 minutes break, so you are welcome to have a coffee, some sweet snacks, and to use the toilets. Enjoy. Okay, everybody. We're going back to our lecture. There is the last, but of course not least, Corin, and I give the floor to Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Seb. Blimey. Before I start this lecture, I want to say a few words about what has gone on so far. With the recognition of Corin. Now, as the majority of you are probably aware, the FIFe Judges and Standards Commission came with a proposal to the General Assembly this year in Parndorf. This proposal was essentially, it was the opinion of the Judges and Standards Commission that this was not a proposal for recognition of new colours. It was a proposal to correct the registration of certain cats based on new genetic information. Basically, it cats in certain breeds. We're talking about the British, we're talking about the Siberian, the Neva Masquerada, and also initially we were talking about the Karelian. We're talking about the golden varieties. As I say, we're now getting a lot more genetic information and genetic testing done, and it has been proved that that these cats that we're seeing, some of the cats that we're seeing at shows, are not what we call classic golden, classic white band. Unfortunately, at the General Assembly, well, one thing happened just before this proposal was presented at the General Assembly. It happened about 2 or 3 months before that. One of the genetic experts in America, who's a member of the TICA Genetics Committee, she posted in the TICA magazine a worry about the health aspects of the Corin mutation. I will come back to this in my presentation. So that was an unfortunate occurrence because, of course, we're not interested really in recognizing new breeds or new colors where there is a health issue. I mean, our hobby is under enough attack without us doing some more recognition of cats with health problems. So that came out 2 or 3 months before the General Assembly, and the General Assembly elected not to accept the Judges and Standards Commission proposal. So we're now in a little bit of a tricky situation, as far as I'm concerned, as judges and as students, is because by bringing the proposal to the General Assembly, we admitted that these colours exist. So we now have a problem, in my opinion, as judges and as students, because what is happening now is that the breed councils for the affected breeds, forget the Karelian, they're not interested yet. They are having to apply for preliminary recognition of these cats. But the problem we have is that we've all seen these cats at shows. We've got world winners, we've got Scandinavian winners, etc., of cats which are in this colour. So until we can get this sorted out, as far as I can see, this is going to take 1 more year, perhaps 18 months to sort out. We have to find out what we do with these cats at shows when we get them on our table to judge. And this is why I still think it's relevant to make this presentation to you guys, and then afterwards we can try and work out what we're going to do while this process is going on. But anyway, at the General Assembly, the Judges' Seminar, in association with the General Assembly, Sarah Moroni of the Health and Welfare Commission made an excellent presentation of the genetics associated with Corin. I have no ambition to repeat her lecture because I don't have the technical knowledge, basically. But what I've done is I've taken some of the slides from her lecture to give you guys a basic idea of how the genetics works with Corin. So I'll see if I can explain it at a level where we all understand. Okay. The first thing to understand is that Corin only affects the agouti cats. Corin is a protein which controls the pigment. Of how the color pigmentation is controlled in the ticked hairs on the cat. And you can see here you have two phrases that you can read, which is the melanocyte stimulating hormone, which is abbreviated to MSH, and the agouti signaling protein, which is abbreviated to ASIP. And the way this works is that when the color is getting introduced into the individual hair of the cat, we start with a high MSH level, and MSH is, excuse me, MSH is responsible for the eumelanin, which is the black. So first, the black starts getting, the black color granules start being put into the hair, and then the ASIP, the level it rises, this stops the black color pigmentation going into the hair and starts the red color pigmentation into the hair. And this oscillates like this, and this is why you get the ticked hairs. Okay. As I say, and the switching from the MSH to the ASIP has been identified. It is the Corin protein that controls this. Okay. What these Corin mutations do is that they lengthen the period of time that the red pigment is put into the hair before they start again with the black pigment. Now, with the Corin mutations, so far there has been identified 3 mutations that we're interested in. We have the what we call the wideband SIB. Then we have the another one which is called the wideband extreme sunshine. And then we have the mutation which is found in the British. There are other mutations been identified. Actually, there's 9 mutations identified so far in the Bengal. And the same in the Bengal. This is what people are starting to believe is what is controlling the warmth in the coat of the Bengal. But we're not interested yet in that. Okay. As I say, this is the what we're calling what the British people want to call the colour copper. This is the British Corin mutation. Not so all this technicalities here, not so interesting for us. But the one thing to understand, Corin mutations have a recessive inheritance, whereas our traditional wideband, this is a dominant inheritance. This means, of course, that golden cats, traditional golden cats, they just need one parent to have the wideband gene, whereas all these Corin mutations, they are recessive, so they need both parents to either be show the colour or carry the colour. This is important to remember, that we have a recessive inheritance. This is copper. Now let's see if there is also another technical phrase that I need to tell you about, because this can be a little bit important later. The British, or the Corin mutation found in the British, is what's called a nonsense mutation. Doesn't mean anything to me what a nonsense mutation is, but what this means is that it's a much more complicated it's a much more complicated mutation, which some people believe can cause other problems, because a nonsense mutation stops after this, it stops the development of other things, or it can do. And as I say, I come back to this. This is the first mutation identified in the Siberian. This is what is called a missense mutation, a simpler mutation, and it does not, should not stop other things happening. And then we also have the extreme Siberian mutation. Again, called a missense mutation. Now, this is where the health aspects come in here. And we've got a little bit of an emergency stop in the process. Again, I will, before I finish, I will come back to why that has happened. This is why certain people are worried. In other species where Corin mutations have been identified, there has also been, this includes human beings, there has been identified potential problems with blood pressure, problems with the heart, etc. What people are now concerned about is, can there be problems with the blood pressure and the heart associated with Corin mutations in cats? So this is where a lot of people want us to see if we can identify any health problems associated with these Corin before we recognize the colours, huh? My personal opinion is that these colours have been around for 15, 20, 25 years. So of course, I'm not an expert, I'm not a geneticist, but I would have thought that colours like this been around for such a long period of time, we would, by just casual observation, recognise that there's a potential for high blood pressure and heart disease in these cats. And we have no information that these Corin colours in cats, in our pedigree cats, have caused problems. But okay, we still need to work on this and prove, and there's certain of the experts which are already in the process of trying to identify if there's blood pressure problems associated with Corin. Of course, this is a little bit difficult for them because, as Dorota said earlier, a trip to the vet to get the cat's blood pressure measured is going to increase the blood pressure. Just the trip to the vet. So how we can quantify scientifically any effects on blood pressure, this is certainly got certain people at the moment scratching their head a little bit. Okay, that was all I wanted to say so much about with regards to the genetics of Corin. As I say, Sarah Moroni, she did a much more complete lecture than I intend to do. And this lecture is available if you are a nerd like me and you're very interested in the technical details, you just get hold of a copy of Sarah's lecture. This will give you a lot more technical background. But anyway, this, I just want to show you this. You don't have to read it, but this was the situation when FIFe started work on Corin. And you can see here how other organizations that use their own EMS system, how they approached this. The recognition process for some of these colors in some of the organizations is already complete. But we ended up with this situation where we found that different organizations were using different EMS codes. They were using a multitude of names for the colors. And we sat back for a little while, the Judges and Standards Commission and the Breeding and Registration Commission, and we decided that we would try to get this colour recognised using a single EMS code. And what we did is that we proposed, and the proposal is still on the table, that we use the modifier code U. The reason we decided that that was the way to go is we already have a modifier code, which is T, but within the FIFe EMS system, T is defined as a breed-specific modifier code. So this is only used for amber. We did use it for Bengal, the charcoal Bengal. We've now changed that. So T, we have a desire to maintain that just for breed-specific modifiers, and then we use U for a modifier that works over a range of breeds. This is the idea anyway. We decided also early on that we would just call this U, we would just call this Corin, because we couldn't see how we could have a modifier code which would get a multitude of names. Because for a start you have sunshine, extreme sunshine, etc. as the names of the colors in Siberian and Neva. You have copper, and you have Corin gold, you have flaxen gold. As I say, there's a multitude of names that have already been, because the other organizations have chosen to recognize quicker than FIFe. They have, as I say, they have allocated names. What our preference is at the moment is that we just call everything Corin, and then when we go into the individual breed standards, we can start highlighting these names. That was the idea. We'll have to see if that idea that idea carries on in the process. So that's where we started. this is still, when we as part of the recognition process, we will have to develop colour descriptions. That's part of the work that the FIFA Judges and Standards Commission have to do. So we have to, this is the statements that we will presumably be making. Corin is only recognised in agouti cats. It's not recognised for the red and the cream because there should be no visible effect of Corin in red and cream, because the red and cream cats are, the hairs are full of pheomelanin anyway. So if we get you can't get extra pheomelanin in. I know everybody is not in agreement with that. There are certain Siberian breeders who say they can see the difference. So this is, it's not 100% resolved yet. Also, we wanted to highlight that so far Corin can only be used in British and Siberian and never. We also went to the General Assembly with the idea that it could be used in Karelian, but the Karelian Breed Council was not interested, so we take that away. Okay, we can now go through the colour descriptions that we have made already for these Corin cats. These colour descriptions are based on, essentially they're based on the descriptions for golden, but there are certain certain changes or certain differences which you need to be aware of when you're looking at the cats. What you will see is on these Corin cats is that they differ from the golden cats in, they can differ quite a lot. The first thing that you will see is that, say, a golden cat should have a rim of the nose, should be in the colour of the tipping, hey? Should have, say, a black golden cat should have a black outline around the nose. On these Corin cats, there's either no outline or there's no, or the outline is broken. Also, these Corin cats, they can be what happens is that because the Corin slows down or stops the injection of the eumelanin into the hair, the black, and replaces this or extends the time interval. What you can find for the pheomelanin, which is the red, what you will find is on these cats is that certainly on the tipped, you can find in the extreme examples that the pheomelanin nearly pushes the eumelanin totally out of the hair. And you will see that the black tips, for example, they're either not there anymore or they're very, very slight. Plus, the other thing which is very noticeable, this gives a general appearance to the cat of its brighter colour. It's a brighter orange colour, huh? The other thing you will find, or can find, is the cats get very white, very pale on the chin, the underside of the face, on the chest, and then on the top of the feet. This is the people that study this and are working with this, they call this counter shading. So this is another phrase that you guys are going to have to learn. I mean, I don't understand why they want to call it counter shading. This is a very strange name for me, but this is a name which has come into the breeding with these colours. So just be prepared when somebody starts talking about counter shading. Okay, we can start looking at some pictures of these cats. Now this is obviously British short hair, and you can see here on both these cats, nose leather is totally pink, no outline, as there would have been if this cat was golden. You can also see that the underside of the face, the chin, down the chest, has got very whitish. And you will see also on the top of the feet, a whitish colour. Now, I had a bright idea as to why this was happening, this decoloration on the chest. I thought that this was possibly because Corin is working with traditional wideband, and it's just removing more and more of the colour. And actually, a couple of the experts actually agreed that this was a possibility. Unfortunately, I'll show you some pictures a little bit later on, which possibly totally disprove that idea. So these are the cats that we're seeing at shows already. We already have a world winner in this colour scheme. 2-3 years ago. Don't know whether everybody remember. So this is the tipped variety. This is where we're seeing a lot of cats at the show. And they're of course being shown as golden tipped. I'm quite interested to find out what they're going to do now. The British people insist on having shaded and shell back. Be interesting to see what they try and do with some of these cats, but okay. Okay, Corin Tabby. This is, again, Corin can work on cats which have a normal tabby pattern rather than the tipped. Again, the same, based on golden, but with the modifications. And here we say that on the nose leather, it's pink without the rim, or the rim is broken around the nose leather. And the way we try to describe the pattern is that the the yellowish bands of hair in the ticked hair are wider than in the normal ticked hair. And this gives, again, gives a lighter, brighter effect. Again, with these tabby cats, you do get, sometimes you do get this whitening on the chin, the lower part of the face, the chest, and the top of the feet, maybe. This is a tabby cat where the Corin is, in my opinion, working. What it's doing is it's making the pattern a little bit more diffuse because there's more red in the pattern. This is a very old picture, this is 20, 25 years old. And it was called Golden Siberian type. But as I say, the one thing to understand here is, as far as my research, there has never been, in the Siberian cat, there has never been what we call traditional golden. I'm convinced that the cats that we have in the Siberian breed are all Corin cats, sunshine. That's not, of course, that's my personal conviction, not scientifically proved. But here is, again, this is a Corin tabby cat. This is, again, very highly premiered cat. This is a Corin cat, a Corin tabby cat with white. So don't get too confused, but you notice that she does have this whitening of the chin and the chest, and also on one of the feet you can see this whitening of the top of the feet. This is on the right. This is the genetic testing that's starting to be done. Unfortunately, at this point in time, the various laboratories are using slightly different genetic nomenclature for this testing. This is in Germany, and you can see down the bottom here that this cat is homozygote for the sunshine, or what they call wideband Siberian. Has to be homozygote. If it was heterozygote, you wouldn't get full expression because it's a recessive. This is another cat. This cat is not tested. I have to tell you, this cat is not tested. But as I say, in my opinion, this is showing all the attributes of being a Corin cat. This also shows a little bit about how the colour developed, because this is a picture of the cat at 4 months. This is a picture of the cat at 9 months. You can see the the coat during the initial stages of its development. The coat is getting warmer, but that's the same on most golden cats anyway. But now if you have a look at this cat, this is the same cat at the age of 7 years. And what you can see here, in my opinion, is that we are starting, if we go back here when she was 9 months, she was a little bit pale around the muzzle, etc. But here, there's much more of the underside of the cat, which has got whitish, including the top of the feet. What did I do there? This is another cat that live in my house. This is, again, what I believe, although it's not tested yet, to be extreme sunshine, because here we're getting a lot of not discoloring, but losing the color on the underside of the cat. But again, to notice here, no outline on the nose rim. You can see the paw pads here, they're black. This is a black cat, not showing very much signs of being black. This is another interesting one. This is a copper cat, tested. This is not showing any of this this loss of color and loss of color on the underside of the cat at all. This is why we've had to make the color descriptions variable. The difference between this cat and these cats, again, my personal belief is that these cats are based on traditional wideband. That's in the mix, whereas this cat is not. I think that this is just a straight tick-tappy cat. But I don't know this cat. It's not tested for which tabby pattern it has. This is my belief just looking at it. Okay, Corin pointed. This is also where you can find the Corin. This is in the Never Masquerada, and this is in the Colour Point British. So we get, again, based on the golden points, but we allow the, we highlight that the nose rim is either not there. We also highlight that the cat can lose its colour on the underside. This is a Never Masquerada. You can see here, it's not so easy on the Never to find out if it's a golden or Sunshine. But this cat here, you can see here somewhere, it's tested, same laboratory, tested again. Homozygote for Sunshine. And to me, you could notice that the slight amount of colour in the face is a little bit warmer than you would expect from a golden point. And also the colour on the back of the ears, again, a little bit brighter than you would expect. But this is a cat that was presented to me about 6 months ago at a show in Denmark. And it was, of course, it was presented to me as a Golden Point British. But I noticed some things on this cat. I noticed that there was no rim around the nose, and I also noticed that the coat on the front and on the chest and on the top of the paws was very whitish. So I had a big discussion with this young lady from Holland. She didn't have a clue what I was talking about, unfortunately. She was very new in the cat world. But as I say, I don't know whether she's got this cat tested yet, but I've seen this cat has now become a father, and I've seen some of the pictures of some of the kittens, and they're definitely, to me, showing signs of the Corin mutation. Yeah, what I did with this young lady, this is the pedigree of this cat. I asked the young lady to send me a copy of the pedigree. She sent me this. What you will notice here, which sort of increased my suspicion that this is a Corin cat, is that all the ancestors are registered as golden pointed or golden tipped, and they all come from Germany. The vast majority of them come from Germany. Now, Germany is the country where these copper cats first identified in FIFe. So as I say, this increased my suspicion that because the background of this cat is more or less exclusively from German independent clubs, etc. I even increases my belief that this cat is a copper point rather than a golden point. Okay. Of course, Corin also work with, together with silver. This is perhaps one of the most, what shall we say, obvious expression of Corin. Again, this is based on the expression for the silver tabby cats, but we add in under the remarks that kittens can be born looking silver, and then or black silver, blue silver, but then they, as they develop, they get what what's called in the trade, it's called bimetallic. There's another color description that, or name. But I can show you what these cats look like. Now, this is a picture of this is about, how long ago, Martha? 10 years ago? This is actually a bimetallic cat. The only problem that we had, I mean, when we got this cat, we didn't have a clue about this. This cat was registered as a Tortie Silver Tabby. And this is what confused it, because she is a Tortie Silver Tabby, but she's a Tortie Silver Bimetallic Tabby. Of course, we were confused because, as I say, she also, because she's a Tortie cat, a Tortie Tabby cat, she also has red hair in with the black hair, hey? Yeah, we can see this was taken 12 years ago. But then we started having kittens with Jadisa, and some slightly strange things started popping out. One of the first kittens that popped out was this one. And as you can see, she was born in 2010, and this is what we call the bimetallic expression. This is the Corin stopping the eumelanine going into the hair and letting the pheomelanine go into the hair. So we're getting this on large portions of the cat. We're getting this warm color. Here is some pictures of bimetallic in another breed, the British breed. You can see the same effect on the underside of the cat. The is warmer. What you do notice with these cats is, again, that they can be born not showing any of this warmth, and then the warmth can increase until they get to 2, 3, 4, 5. This is, again, should be, it's a silver-tipped cat, British. But again, you can see that you can't see the paws. The paw pads on this cat are black, but the Corin is causing this warmth into the cat. That's the end of what I wanted to present to you today. Does anybody have any questions or would like to more clarification on something? It's quite a complicated subject, this. I don't believe that everybody has to understand everything, but when we are judges, we need to know a little bit. We need to know what the cats look like. We need to know why they look like that, because we're certainly going to get asked questions when we're on the judging table, and we perhaps try to suggest to an owner that this cat is not golden, this cat is not a silver tabby, it's a bimetallic, or this is a copper cat or a sunshine cat. So we need to have enough knowledge that we can give this knowledge to the owners or the exhibitors, I think. But does anybody want to comment anything?
Just a practical question. When this, for example, this world winner comes to my table on class 1 or 2, what to do?
Yeah, this was the bit that I wanted to talk about now, or discuss, because I don't have an answer for that.
Okay, so as you said at the beginning, so as a commission, you bring the information that it's a different kind of the color. It's already confirmed with the genetic tests, and it's proved that it's a different kind of a color. So in this case, when the cat comes, we should write on the report the suggestion of the change of the color. And currently not recognize the color. Going by the logic and by the standards, it's supposed to be like this.
So, yeah, totally agree with you. But as Magda just said, this will be a war. And it will also, the other thing which I think is most important is that we will all have to do the same. That's the important thing. We can't confuse exhibitors around FIFe by making these cats best in show one day, and then the next day refusing to give it a certificate and recommend to change the colour. That is not going to help the situation at all. So if anybody's got any bright ideas, I'm quite willing to listen.
I will not give the answer because I can... No. I mean, it's just, it depends of what breed we judge. If this breed is judged in color groups, where the color is just 5 points, Siberians, I don't mind if they are Corin, copper, sunshine, whatever. I mean, they are still in the same group. So, of course, it's not a big issue. When we come to British, where we have the highest amount of points for the coat color, none other breed has more than this, we come to the very serious discussion. Because first of all, if this is a ticked cat, we want to see ticking. There is no ticking there because, of course, we can understand that this is because of the Corin gene, but still. So 20 points out or even 15 points out means no certificate. And it's a big, it's not an excuse that we already have the world winner in this color. For me, this is not, because we already have, for many years, a lot of silver Siamese, which are coming very obviously from silver Orientals, and we cannot recognize them because of some pedigree problems, but they exist. We have a lot of caramel and apricot cats. We have already EMS codes for those cats, but we recognize, we don't recognize these colors in any breeds, but we have them both in British, In Orientals and in many other breeds, we have them, these modified colors. But I have a question, different one. The proposal for the, Judges and Standard Commission, when they worked and they put the description for the general part about the Corin gene, you wrote something like this, that Corin is not available for use with red and cream cats. Of course, because it's not possible to see it. But in the same time, for the British new color recognition, I don't know, the proposal contained the color point, Corin cats, pointed ones, in red and cream color, which of course was copy-pasted from golden, which is also not logic in it, but still. So there is something which is standing opposite to things.
You have to remember that this proposal that the Judges and Standards Commission put to the General Assembly this year was rejected. So whatever ideas that we had there, because we did have some ideas of how we could get through this transition without disqualifying cats. I mean, if you see the details of our proposal, it was a very long proposal, but it did include that, for example, the copper-tipped cats would be judged together with the golden-tipped cats in the same class. This would allow us quite easily to transfer the cats by colour and carry on the judgment. Exactly the same as we did in the Siberian and the Neva, was that the Sunshine tabby was in the same group as the Golden tabby, and there the judge could just change the colour and carry on judging the cat. We thought that this was one way to go through the transition. But again, that was rejected by the General Assembly, so we're back to square one. And I have no real idea of what the various breed councils are going to come with a proposal.
Thank you, Stephen. I mean, I understand it, and basically, that was not my question. My question was going to the point that you described the EMS code, that it's not valid for cream and red cats. And it's obvious because it's the same pigment which create this effect. But generally, in the British colors, you know, what we judge them, in a full colored, not pointed cats. We have them in a black and blue, and it's obvious, the same way like Siberian. Yes, and in the pointed cats, we recognize them in a golden and also in this hue, red and cream. Doesn't make any sense. Not in agenda, but okay. I will leave it.
It was not my intention that they should be there. So if you find them there, then that was a mistake in the proposal. But, as I said to you, we're now back to square one, and what the British Breed Council and the Siberian Breed Council come up with, I don't know yet. We haven't received any proposal from the British or the Siberian Breed Council yet. We're in a dialogue. Because as I said to you, with the Siberians, they say that they can see sunshine on the red tabbies. Personally, I think that's wishful thinking, but I don't know. Let's see if we get presented with some red tabby Siberians, which they believe are which are genetically tested for sunshine. We see. But yes, back to the problem with judging these cats. Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't really have an answer for you there. Agree that it's not a big deal in the Siberian and the Neva because there's so few points for colour. So we can ignore the problem a little bit. But in the British, we haven't going to have a problem for the next 18 months when these cats come on the table. And don't have a solution to that because some judges are more, what shall we say, more strict than others. So it's going to cause us a problem for the next 18 months at least. And I just hope that I don't get given any of these cats. Yeah. Well, again, I agree with you. In the ragdoll, there's not so many non-silver ragdolls in Poland, is there? The Breeding and Registration Commission were not happy. And this is not surprising because the Breeding and Registration Commission in FIFe is there to look after the breeding and registration rules. And the proposal from the Judges and Standards Commission totally ignored the breeding and registration rules, the recognition process for new colours. So they couldn't support. They understood what we wanted to do, but they couldn't support it because it's totally against their rules. So that was one of the problems. And again, the other problem was this recently developed idea that Corin might represent a health problem in the cats. And again, I can agree with that, that if we should not recognize anything in the climate that we're trying to exist in today with a lot of these activists trying to totally get rid of certain breeds, the last thing that we should, in my opinion, do is recognize a colour which has associated health problems. That would just be cutting our own wrists or stabbing ourselves in the back if we do that. So this was certainly the the two problems. Those were the two problems, and which no. There are, again, we are in a We're in a little bit of a kinky situation here, because we've got, what shall we say, 3, 4, 5 genetics experts around the world, and at this moment they don't agree with each other. For example, the lady in France, Marie Abertal, she is concerned, and as far as I understand, she is trying to work out some sort of test program that have a little bit of, what shall we say, scientific background rather than just casual statements. Then you have Leslie Lyons in the States. Apparently she doesn't agree that this is a risk at all. Then you have other people in the States, in Tika. They are a little bit on the fence, but playing safe, that's saying that something should be, we should check some things out. So we're struggling a little bit here to get a consensus. And I think this is one of the things which is likely to delay this, you know. If suddenly we decide that, yeah, we've got to have a very sophisticated test program, this is not something that can be done in 5 minutes, eh? You understand? But those were the two reasons why generally, that's my understanding. We can ask the other guys who were there. Do you agree, Seb, that that was why this didn't get through, or?
Yeah, probably so. But okay, we were actually in favor of this proposal, but yeah, what can I say?
Whatever. You saw the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, no, there's nothing. There's nothing been found in the cats. This problem has been found in human beings. It's been found in tigers, and it's been found in mice, as far as I understand. But okay, as I say, I'm not a genetic expert, but my, basic understanding is that you cannot transfer information from one species to another species. But we will have to, yeah, we will have to ensure that this is not a problem before the final recognition anyway. And as I said earlier, casual observation from my side is that it is not a problem. These cats have been around for so long. As I say, we first started seeing these very warm Goldens in the British, in Germany, over 20 years ago. If we assume my statement that traditional Golden has never been in the Siberian breed, and these are all Corin cats, they've been around for 30, 35 years. And again, no, I would have thought that we would have, by casual observation, had cats dying of heart problems or enough to put the red flag up in the air, but certainly haven't seen anything that gives a red flag signal to me. But now we have to get the experts interested. Well, there are enough experts already interested. So hopefully we can start getting some qualified testing done to disprove this very quickly. Not so sure how quickly we can get this going.
Stephen, I think that there is a big difference between the British gene, the Corin gene, and Siberian, because Siberian, yes, I mean, this is long term and now it's recognized as this, but this Corin British, I mean, I don't remember 15 years ago, we never met such a cats. We met them for last 5 or 6 years. I mean, maybe it's the same cats, but they were not so whitish, not so exactly what we see now. And this is something different. And as I was told, this theoretical health problems, because I don't want to spread the rumors about it, it's going only to British breed, not Siberian. So.
Yeah, this is what, this is, at the moment, this is what the experts are arguing a little bit about. As I said to you earlier, right at the start of my lecture, the Corin mutation in the British is what's called a nonsense mutation. Whereas the 2 mutations in the Siberian are called missense. They're not as complicated as, and it, now, the experts are arguing with each other at the moment, or well, they're not arguing, discussing. Is a nonsense mutation more dangerous than a missense mutation? Because a nonsense mutation stops the protein working, full stop. A missense mutation does not stop the protein working totally. It alters the way it works. And as I say, some 3-4 months ago, when this problem came up, yeah, we were going to say, yes, potentially only the British mutation is the one which could have health problems. But now some of the experts are saying to us, you can't say that, because it's not that black and white. It's not that black and white, so we can't say that. There can be a risk in all these mutations, apparently. That's all I can say at the moment, anyway.
And the big question is, in the other breeds, the golden cats, which we don't have gene tests anyway, they are golden or Corin in some other variation of Corin? I mean, it's a question without answer, you know, it's a rhetoric question.
It is quite likely that if the expression gets extreme, that we will start saying, yeah, Look at that.
But we have some Bengals like this.
Yeah, but
And then we complain that, okay, contrast could be better because patterns are not black around, you know. But I met some Bengals like this.
yes, well, it's already been identified 9 different mutations in the Bengal, which they believe are having an effect on the colour. But as I say, the Bengal breeders, I don't think, even in America, I don't think they're that interested in doing anything about it yet. Certainly there's nobody in FIFe that is at all interested in whatever, developing a new EMS code, and because I mean we allow a range in warmth and a range in clarity of the rosettes, etc. So that's, at the moment, that's just a preference for us, isn't it? But, I mean, the Judges and Standards Commission won't do anything about this, I can guarantee you. But if the Bengal breeders that want to, we do whatever they want.
Okay, everybody confused? Sorry.
No more
I
questions?
can only apologise that all I've managed to do is confuse you. But when I'm confused myself, that's all I can guarantee. Spread the confusion.
Okay, Steve, thank you very much for your lecture. Quite confusion. Yeah, you confused everybody for sure. We have 10 minutes break. We have to prepare the diplomas, and then we will 10 minutes break, diplomas, then we will have some discussion if you need one. So let's be back 20 past.